Yeah.
Birthday boy, you kick it off.
So they call me. And it's a big day for a number of reasons. It's also one of my day jobs. I've been dog sitting for 2.5
Yeah.
weeks. And last night was my last night of doing that.
Are
So
you stoked about that? You gonna
I
miss him?
am beyond stoked. I'm
Yeah.
first night I get to be in my own bed in 2.5 weeks. Not waking up at 4 a.m. anymore
4 a.m. Why 4?
because the dog didn't love the
Why?
guest house I was sleeping in, and he freaks out and wakes up at 4, and I'd have to take him on a walk and then do the whole thing.
Man, when I was dog sitting for like Autumn's family's
Yeah.
pet, I really didn't like it had its whole routine, like getting up at 4, whatever. I was like, fuck that. And it just learned, it learned like I'm there, like fuck that shit. It's gonna get up at 7 or whatever.
Granted, this dog is like 15 and a half, almost 16.
Oh wow.
It's like impossibly old.
How's that possible? That's crazy.
They've kept it
I've
on.
never met a 16-year-old dog.
I don't think I have either.
You're like,
So
this is why. This is
yeah,
too old.
because the owners probably almost take care of it before this point.
Bro, thank God that it didn't die like on your watch.
Trust me, we addressed that very much so.
Yeah,
And
it's like a miracle
I know.
every day.
Well, I've been exhausted for 2.5 weeks. Exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about
You don't
falling.
strike me as a morning person.
It's funny. Even though I am a morning person, I love my mornings. Like I get fired up. Some of my favorite times are like not going out at night and just feeling really good the next morning
Like
to just
ice bath. What's your
yeah,
routine?
I'm all about the healthy lifestyle. Well, you know me, like pickleball first thing, weekend mornings a lot of times, but I hit the gym early too.
Yeah.
For me, like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Ish. And then after that, I do what I can, but work and whatnot. But I'm not one of those guys that gets up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym and stuff. And maybe I just wasn't used to it. I don't know, but I don't know why it hit me so hard getting up at 5 a.m. all the time. Also, the dog a lot of times would get up in the middle of the night as well for a little bit. And I was just light sleeping as I was there, with the dog next to me. So for some reason, it was just a whole thing. I knew it would be. I
Yeah.
knew a lot
You
I was
know what you're
signing up.
signing up for. The
Yeah.
dog was there in the room with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't none of it was easy, but I didn't really have work during the day there. I was giving pickleball lessons during the day,
Right.
which is great. But so I've been, burning the candlestick at
It's a
both ends.
long 2.5 weeks. I mean, the
Well,
good news is that's the last time you're going to be dog sitting that particular dog.
at night for
You
sure.
said
Yeah.
your goodbyes.
Oh, well, the whole reason was because the assistant to the big guy
Yeah.
I work for, she was out of town for 2.5 weeks. It was like her big vacation.
Hmm.
So me and the other person she brought in to watch the dog during the day were doing it. And I couldn't have done days, like the full day. Like nighttime was the best thing for me.
Right.
But anyway, now that we've established that, really glad to be done with it. And on my birthday, it's all good.
Yeah, man. You're done. You're done this crazy shooting schedule. You're done the dog sitting
That was
shit.
during it. The shooting
Yeah.
schedule was during it too, and it was just my mom convinced me to do it, and I like to say yes to things too up front, and it worked out. But like, I just I always have a feeling like once you say yes to something far in advance, stuff comes up. I don't love to plan things.
Yeah. I say no to a lot of shit.
I bet. Mhm. They
Yeah.
say like maturing is being able to say no, but then again, you could go too far with it too. And I hear a lot of older rich people that are like, I don't do anything anymore, and it's like kind of hurting me because I
Yeah.
I only just Netflix and chill. Yeah.
Right. There's a balance.
How are
Yeah.
you doing?
I'm good, man. Things are good. I'm gonna be starting up shorts with like a specific character that I've got a mask being made for right now. So we're gonna start that rollout again. And then just been doing my hour and a half of writing every day. So the grind continues.
Forget about that.
Yeah. I like getting that talking about like early mornings. I like getting my morning pages in. It's the same thing as going to the gym early or pickleball or whatever. It's like you get that highest priority thing done, top of the day. It's smooth sailing.
So what's your schedule looking like right now? And what time are you at school at?
I would get there at what is it, 8 o'clock, and it's like a 40-minute commute. And then I like getting up at like 5 a.m. usually.
Okay. So you're up at 5 a.m. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, it is, man. I'm underslept for the whole week. I just took like an hour nap before this thing, which is great.
Good for
But
you.
yeah, it's like anywhere you can pick it up.
So you're up at 5 a.m. Then what do you do?
I'm up at 5. I make my espresso and I just get to work. And I'm out the door like
Writing first.
7:20.
Writing first.
Yeah, writing.
You get in your hour.
I try to get an hour and a half throughout the whole day because it's so early and I have to get out the door pretty early too. It's like I'm usually not getting that full hour and a half, but
Okay.
I'll pick
And
up the hours later on.
so you try to get in some morning writing, some looking back at notes, trying to like, get it going and everything. And then what time do you leave to work generally?
Like 7:20.
You get there around 8.
Yeah.
First class starts at what?
8:25.
Is that the first class of the day for them too?
Mm-hmm.
8:25 start time. Random.
It's very random. Does that feel early to you or is that like just right?
Uh, it doesn't feel early. I think I'm just comparing it to my high school or whatever. I think 8 a.m. is when we started.
Yeah, it's about the thing I love is I'm done at 4, which is like it's it's way earlier. It's usually the 9 to 6. So I'm totally fine with starting it earlier. Just getting out that early is like it's a great feeling.
Totally. Yeah, 4 definitely could be worse. Um, what so you get there 8:20 first class and you're rolling to 4?
Pretty much I get a lunch and I
Oh,
get
how long till-
something called a prep period, which is just like a free period. What were you asking?
You just have one period that entire time, 1 hour that's off.
Yeah.
Okay. How long's lunch?
Uh it's like 40
5.
minutes.
And that prep period, what do you usually do during that? I assume not prep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm not prepping every single prep period. Um, sometimes, I might get a little writing in, or I
Nice.
might extend my lunch out a little bit. So it's flex.
You pack a lunch every day?
Yeah.
That's discipline. What are the kids learning at this point? Are they all learning the same stuff or what?
Yeah, they're learning filmmaking, writing, editing.
I'm asking for details here.
No, I like it. We're getting the nitty-gritty. They're
Yeah. I mean, it's a big part of your life. I want to hear.
It is, man. I mean, so we're doing like podcasts too. We're kind of all over the map. But what I'm trying to gear towards for next year is doing more teaching more acting classes, teaching more screenwriting classes. So just trying to really gear it into like all the filmmaking stuff, the whole process.
Those are sort of specific components of filmmaking rather
That's
than
it.
as a whole, like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like gear it towards that. So like I came in, I adopted this whole thing, but then I'm trying to adjust it, and it seems like it's pretty flex as far as like I want to offer this thing, and so then we can do that, and then we can do
Who do you
this.
go to discuss that and stuff? Is there one person? Is it
Yeah,
difficult?
I
Are there
talked to a guidance counselor today. They're usually the ones who plug it in and see like
curriculum?
student interest is at and all that stuff.
I imagine this isn't a completely new subject that you're teaching. Like I imagine there's like some type of curriculum and testing with it and requirements, right? Or no?
Yeah, a lot of it wasn't provided to me, so I got like the name of the course, and then I had to kind of build around my own process or whatever. So
Yeah.
I kind of build it up.
I assume film is a bit more of a loose curriculum than math, algebra.
Yeah. And that's what I like about it. If I wouldn't be able to be like a math teacher, you know, where like Tuesday you got to do this, Wednesday this. It's like I'm
So what was that
deciding.
conversation like when they were like, okay, Jacob, you obviously are an actual filmmaker. That's great. But we want to see if you can like transfer your information to these kids. What were they saying like that you had to do? Or what were the bullet points?
It was mostly it was mostly being thrown in the deep end. It was kind of like, here's your classroom, like
Just
do your
babysit?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just take these kids for an hour, you can do whatever the heck you want with them.
I mean, I'm like determining the curriculum and all that stuff. So yeah, for the most part, it's weird. Like, and I like this as a teacher of the arts of any kind, you you just have to prove you're like an expert in the field. And then it's like you're given this classroom and then you just, you figure it out.
Well, I'm curious about the subject as a whole. Like, how do they prove that these kids are learning anything? Like,
I like wrote out the curriculum of like what I'm doing per week and like how that satisfies like there's specific criteria that they're looking to teach. It's kind of like I don't even know who sets that standard, but it's like, California education, whatever. They're like, you should cover this and this and this.
yeah, there's like unions. So yeah, right.
That's it. Yeah. But it's still like super broad. It's like understand how to be a professional in this industry. And then I'd like, you figure out how to do that. So it's kind of I'm
They give
still
you like
just
a budget for textbooks and stuff.
no, but we have a little bit of a budget that we were able to save up for fundraising and stuff. And I'm probably gonna purchase a camera, like a nice film camera pretty soon, which I'm
For
stoked about. Yeah.
what, like for the class or what?
For the class.
And then
Um,
what would be like the main purpose to use it for?
to film.
No, yeah, obviously.
What do
But
you
like,
mean?
what type of like project or whatever would be the specific
It
use
would
of it?
be any kind of like shorts or features that we're doing that
Because
they
I know,
can.
like in college, for instance, at least in my school, in film class, if you were going to use film equipment, you had to rent it out from the film department.
Yeah, we can do that, or we'll like shoot stuff in class. Kind of same deal.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious how you like allocate which kids get to use it or what.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of suss it out. You feel out which kids are, better equipped to
So they have
have
to
that responsibility.
audition to become the camera guy,
What's
basically.
that?
They have to like kind of audition to see who gets to become the camera guy and whatnot.
It's more like behavior wise. If they're like having issues, then they're not going to be able to take a camera home. It's that kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you gotta suss out that situation.
Yeah,
See who,
man. It's
yeah,
interesting. Lots of personalities. It's a lot. But I'm having fun, man, and I'm looking forward to next year too, because I'm just able to. I got a little bit more flex of like what we're gonna do, so it's cool.
awesome. Are you showing them any movies or?
No, I haven't done that yet. What's the first thing you think I should show?
Well, first of all, I'm curious, is there like, could you give them a watch list as well? I'm sure that would be kind of tight.
Good, yeah. What
Or
would you
like
recommend?
recommend a movie. For kids like that, you could scare them away with the classics a little bit.
How classic are you thinking? Like 80s, 50s?
I mean, I took like a film course where it wasn't film production. It was like film, it was probably film history. And
Hmm.
you know, they had like all the historical movies on there. So it was beneficial to watch like the original Frankenstein.
I haven't seen that.
Ooh, yeah, as
Good
a
one.
horror guy, especially, man. You
Yeah.
should follow those original horror movies
I
like
should. I haven't seen the Bram Stoker stuff,
Bram
all that
Stoker,
stuff.
Dracula. I
Yeah.
think it was or Bram Stoker, I think, was the writer of the book Dracula, right?
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
then there's a few different Draculas.
Nosferatu, that whole vibe of like the black and white. I haven't seen any of that stuff.
So the big ones, as far as like the acting goes and stuff, I think so Mary Shelley was the writer of the book Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The original Frankenstein was pretty legendary. Even the black and white, like it was considered like a good movie. It was awesome. And I really liked it. I remember seeing it a bunch of times. And it was like a sad tale. Like, it was a great story. And The Mummy with the British actor played the mummy actually, Boris Karloff. He sort of talked like this. And Hank Azaria did an impression of him in Night at the Museum. And
And do you think that's how he really talked, or was he putting on like a
no,
translate?
no, no. I don't think he talked at all in The Mummy. But it was ironic that in real life, he sort of spoke like this. And it's a great
Oh, that's
accent too.
crazy.
Very
I
nice.
love the way they talk back then. That whole like transatlantic thing of putting on that accent that no one actually used in real life. Fucking genius.
Very posh. You had to speak like this in the military and sort of,
Military.
military and report to all the men that if you're going to London in this day and age, you might also be commuting to Cairo, Egypt. And you're also imperialistic and, all that sort of drag. I don't know.
It's great.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
But bro, you got those movies. You got, if you want to go horror, sort of campier, but House on Haunted Hill. The original, you ever see that? Vincent
No.
Price. Vincent Price was
Vincent Price. He was the guy.
he was like considered definitely a movie star, big one, but kind of campier, loved horror.
Yeah.
And later on, he ended up doing some of these like documentaries, movies on Dracula and stuff. Sort of, good evening. I'm Vincent Price. And he had like this crazy mustache. And
The thin kind of.
welcome to my hall, where I'm going to talk to you about Bram Stoker, Dracula. And like all you gotta look it up on YouTube. Actually, I just saw it because one of my favorite sketches on Saturday Night Live, Bill Hader did a spoof of Vincent Price hosts horror nights with celebrities. And it was like him trying to be all like, good evening, and then everything's going wrong with like Judy Garland popping pills in the back and stuff. And John F. Kennedy comes, he's like, where are all the whores? And he's like, Mr. Kennedy, voters are watching. It's literally my favorite sketch of all time.
Yeah. I gotta
Yeah.
check that out. Oh my god.
Maybe bookmark it now if you can.
Yeah,
Vincent,
Bill Hader is the best.
he's the best, obviously. Him, Fred Armisen plays Liberace from that time, and he keeps making like sexual innuendos, and Vince Price keeps going, Liberace! Don't say that around Liberace.
Voters are watching.
Voters are watching. John F. Kennedy. John Hamm played John F. Kennedy, and then there's another one. John Hamm comes back, I think, and he plays the great English actor. His freaking name, James Mason.
Mm.
And he's so funny. He's like, what does he say? Oh man. They're talking about Halloween, and he goes, "Oh, Jolly Roger." And he goes, "Mr. Mason, you're Jolly Roger? You're a pirate fan?" And he goes, "No, I got pissed in the car and pissed my Jolly Roger on the way over." And he keeps making like degenerate jokes, and he's like, Mr. Mason. It's showing that like all these old timey celebrities in Hollywood were just like
Yeah.
their rocker.
Right.
It's brilliant.
That's so good.
Yeah, I think the first one to watch. There's like a bunch of them too. Watch the Halloween. Kristen Wiig is so funny in it. Anyway,
No, did you see the Oscars? Are you an award show guy?
I'd like to be, but these days I don't love the type of movies the Oscars generally. So not
Yeah,
much.
I watched Zone of Interest. Do you
Okay,
hear that one?
I heard it was good, but I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it was good too, but I watched this thing and it was like
Okay.
so boring, bro. It
Ooh.
was so boring.
Like,
It's the horrors of the Holocaust without seeing any of the actual Holocaust. And it's just a story of like you heard the summer or whatever. It's like
no, it just sounds
okay.
about.
Yeah, I mean it's this family who they were like the dad was the Nazi.
Yeah, give me the
commandant.
2 sentence log
Yeah,
line.
yeah. So the dad who's the Nazi commandant, that's what they call him. He lives with his family in this like just outside of the wall of like the camp, and you
Yep.
don't ever actually see any of what goes on, but you'll see like the smoke from the train in the
That was
background
like
as
that
kids.
movie, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, as
Yeah,
well.
but that was a great movie though, because
Right.
you actually there was like a plot and you like
Yeah.
followed the characters and you saw some of the shit. And that's what made it interesting. But like this, bro, was just they were like living their life and they were like in the pool. And it's like,
Well, that does kind of sound interesting, though. You're seeing the domestication of people that are of the Holocaust, and yet
yeah.
you're seeing like their daily lives outside of it, sort
And
of.
that's the deeper meaning, right? Where it's like you're
Yeah,
humanizing the Nazis and it's like,
yeah.
oh wow, that's
Seeing what
more
that was like.
horrifying. But it's
Yeah,
just
but as far as watching it, it to you was like it flat, fell a
to
bit flat.
me, but
Yeah.
also a
No,
lot
no,
of people
no.
loved it, you know? It's kind of like personal preference.
I appreciate that take.
Yeah.
I'm curious, dude. I've been watching, so I want to see Oppenheimer. I haven't
You
seen it.
want to. What's holding you back? The 3 hour runtime?
Everything. The 3 hour runtime, and like I just on my evenings, I don't know if I could quite bring myself to watch it. It's
That'd be a
just
rough watch when it's not in theaters and there's all this hype surrounding it and it's
like
just you and your laptop.
I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. I brought myself to watch that.
That was a good movie. What do you
Well,
think?
someone said it was like pretty much better than they expected. You've seen it, sounds like
Yeah.
you're in. Awesome. So I gotta say there was aspects of it that were much cooler than I expected.
Yeah.
Um, I ended up fast forwarding through the middle hour, but
Agreed. I get that. I was
right.
trapped in a theater, but yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. Wow, I'm seeing it in theaters. So my take on it was, you knew the direction it was going the whole time.
Yeah.
This horrible travesty of the big bad white people came in and like gangsters that are not any that different than any other Martin Scorsese movie. They went in there and tried to just leverage the land from the Native Americans to their financial benefit.
Mm.
And that being said, I thought it was he's always really good with style, Martin Scorsese. I thought there's like really interesting like scenes and how he chose to display them and stuff,
Yeah.
and people, the casting and stuff. I mean, they did a good job of hiding Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio like behind a character like really well, believably. Whereas like
True.
in The Irishman, De Niro looks so horrible and like corny with all this stuff, in my opinion.
I haven't
And
seen that yet. Really?
uh, yeah, he like with all this like prosthetics and CGI,
Uh,
it just was like
it's too
corny,
much.
too much, and like you just didn't buy it. This one was like very, in my opinion,
Especially Leo, I thought in the movie too. Like he lost himself in that character.
he
Um,
seemed like one of those old timey hicks. Yeah.
yeah, which I loved. I thought his performance was great, man. The whole thing with the tooth, like everything
Yeah.
in the look, just solid.
I think all the actors completely blended in, and Scorsese does get those actors that like you feel like you're watching real people, which is cool. And they're those New York actors that you haven't really heard of a lot of times because maybe they've been doing theater, they've been just doing like small time TV stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And then he brings them into a big role, and you're like, oh, who that person's really good. Like, where the heck have they been? And you felt like you were watching like out of like one of those black and white photos from the early 1900s, the behind the scenes of that. So
Yes.
I like that, right? Like it definitely translated. I thought There Will Be Blood did the same thing, sort of,
I love that movie, bro.
right? I love aspects of that movie for sure.
The
Um,
last scene,
what is the last scene?
I slurp your milkshake.
That was the
I
most
slurp it up
absurd thing. I eat the milkshake.
across.
What I have one critique is that Daniel Day-Lewis's performance was over the top, overly
That's your
cartoonish.
critique on that movie?
That's a lot of people's critique. I think I don't disagree. I think that is
Yeah,
true.
I could see that.
I think
But
it, but I think it was entertaining to say the least. I drink the milkshake. I mean, that's the writing as well. I think it was a bit absurd in moments, faux show, but it
yeah,
was still damn amusing. And like, at least we're quoting it now.
yeah, yeah.
Wait, but what was your take on Killers of the Flower Moon?
I thought Yeah, definitely too long. Again, I think that was like a 3-hour
Like
runtime.
redundant, right? Like I knew where it was going from the very beginning. They had to keep us on our toes a little bit more than that, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. But the setup had me completely. I mean, his whole thing in I love Scor. I think Scorsese understands like what an audience will kind of latch into. Like that whole moment with Leo in the cart, like picking her up in the beginning and his conversation with her and how he's just into women and stuff. Like um her talking to her friends about how he's just, she thinks he looks like a coyote, whatever. It's
You
like,
like that love story aspect of it?
yeah.
You know, a lot of people did. I think she acted it well too, but for me, I didn't give a crap about the love story.
I mean, we always have opposite takes, which I love.
Yeah, we do,
What
and I
what about the love story
respect that
thing
you like
didn't you like? Did it feel fake or what?
boring to me.
Yeah?
I don't care about this girl that ends up liking this guy that's like semi doing it for the money, but he actually kind of falls for her. I don't know. I tend to think a lot of times that a love story like brings down a movie, even though they gotta have it,
Mm,
feels forced. And
mm.
to me, like, yeah, the most interesting thing was that he ended up like poisoning her and stuff, and it sucked, and like you find it, at least they got to that quick too. They figured out that like, oh shit, he's actually been poisoning her, and the real medics came in and saved her and stuff. But other than that, I was just like, where this is going with the love story. I knew
Mhm,
from the get-go that like he's gonna end up trying to screw her, but actually kind of fall in love with her. And
mhm.
a love story's gotta to be a really great one. Like I think Jerry Maguire was really interesting. Um,
It's interesting you bring that movie up because that love story was so uh like not by the books. It's so weird
the only
because
ones I like that aren't by the books. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was, which I guess you could say is like real life. Yeah. But
No, I don't think every love story deserves to be told. I think a lot of them are not.
bro, that love story in Jerry Maguire was like him standing outside of the great movie, by the way. Him standing outside of the house like at night with his sunglasses and like the whole movie was
You complete me.
yeah, that whole part. I loved how it
So
tied
did
in.
that from the elevator at the beginning when he's with her in the elevator and the guy does something in sign language and Jerry's like, I can't understand sign language. And she goes, I can. He just said, you complete me. And Jerry's just like, that's kind of hard to follow up. And it was such a funny
Right.
moment. It was so human and like awkward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gary says it at the end of the movie. You complete me. He brings it
Wow, bro.
back.
I didn't
That
catch.
is romantic.
It's been too long since I've seen that because I didn't even remember that part in the elevator.
No, I
That's how
just
crazy.
caught that from the elevator on my most recent watch of it. And I've seen it a ton of times.
Yeah,
But that because I've always heard that quote at the end of the movie.
right.
But the fact that the guy said it and it was awkward at the beginning, it was right when maybe they started dating. I
That's
think,
crazy.
and he's just like,
Yo, but back to the award
that might
show.
be a movie to show the kids. Jerry Maguire. Maybe that's not really film historical, but what were you to say? Back to
This
Killers of the Flower Moon love story.
No, even like award show stuff. So you don't watch the Oscars. It's like not your thing.
I'd
It's
like
long.
to. I didn't this year really. Uh, no, I hear that movie Nonfiction's good or whatever.
Only two things about the Oscars that because I don't watch the whole thing. I'll like fast forward or catch clips the next day. Um, but the two things that I liked about this year was one, the best actor actress award, they were given out by actors who had already won the Oscar. So it was like all five. It was kind of like them giving the
Yeah,
flowers
yeah,
who'd already won.
yeah.
So like that type of handoff I thought was really cool. As people that you look up to.
Yeah.
And the other one, bro, the I'm Just Ken performance that Ryan Gosling came out with was fucking solid. Did you see that?
I didn't see it. No, it must have been. I'm curious.
But it made me think about you of like if you were in a setting like that where you had an opportunity to like do something live like that in front of, the world.
Yeah.
Is that an opportunity you'd take that you feel like you'd crush that would just be like another day at the
Oh,
office or
kidding? Yeah, of course.
yeah, I could totally see that.
Just, my North Star, man. Try to bring it to life in the best possible way. It doesn't matter who's around.
Regardless, yeah.
Regardless, you got to hone in harder. It just means you have to focus harder. But performing, my life changed since that stuff with performing. I don't care if I'm reading one line or a self-help message to the crowd or something. You focus in on what you're trying to bring to life and get into the mind of it and really,
Yeah,
you
bro. And you could tell too, him and bro, you should 100% check this out. I mean, it was
know,
great.
yeah.
Him, you could see because Margot Robbie was in front of him, and when he started the whole thing, he was acting like Ken, like from the get, and the way he like turned to Margot and like shook his head and like went on. He was in the character the whole time, and that's
Yeah.
what made it so great. You know, it's all about circumstance.
Yep, you create the circumstances on stage, and like I told you, doesn't matter where you're acting or whatever, you change the energy in the room because you're bringing
You
that
do,
story to life. So,
right?
what's their task? What was on the page there? It's the song from the movie. They're doing that, and yeah, what's the most tasteful way to do that? They can change the vibe of it for an audience and stuff, but they're doing that song what it meant in that story, and so it's
I
cool.
love that you've always got that to fall back on. Just
Yeah.
going back to the circumstance because it doesn't matter what the environment is, what the stakes are. All that shit is just it's bullshit. That's not the job. The job
Well,
is
it's
just
all fluff added afterwards. Maybe it counts for something, but like you said, it comes down to if you have a script,
uh-huh.
great. That's first. But
Mhm.
even if you don't have a script, you might just have an idea. You might have something, and you're bringing that to life. Because what are you doing? You're pretending something else
Right,
and bringing it there.
right.
That's
Same
it.
with before all the Kevin Spacey shit came out. Um, and he was still the House of Cards guy.
Yep.
There was, I think it was at the Emmys where like he just a camera was on his back and he just turns around, he has a mic and he just goes into his House of Cards impression. And
You
it's
remember
like
that? That
it
was
was
wild.
so good.
So good. Hey, I've been watching a new TV show that my
Uh,
buddies told me about, and it's sick. It's pretty cool. It's called Slow Horses.
Slow Horses. Where can we
I guess
stream?
it's on Apple. Yeah, it's on Apple. It's British. Gary Oldman. He plays the head of this small subunit of misfits in the British Secret Service, and he's the head of them. And it's really solid so far. I just finished the second episode.
Sick. Dude, Gary Oldman. I mean, come on. It's
He just gets all these like. First of all, between Darkest Hour, where he's Churchill, and this, he plays like such a slob and everything. A witty, seen all slob that like is just on his last leg.
a slob. That's interesting. I haven't seen either of those performances, but
Dude, Darkest Hour is dope. If you like British folklore.
is that one of those where he really disappeared into the thing?
Oh, I mean, he's playing Winston Churchill. So
Did
on
he
some,
have all the prosthetics and the fat
yeah,
suit and all that?
yeah, he went in deep. I don't, a lot of actors say though that it's like easier to play something that's far away from yourself because you don't have time to think as the actor. You don't have the actor brain. You're just like trying to think what the character would be
Yeah.
thinking.
And
So
what I've heard from actors too is like putting on that costume and like and seeing yourself in the mirror and the prosthetics and all that. I mean, bro, that helps so much, right?
start
It's just
thinking maybe like, well, what would it be like if I felt like this? What does it feel like? And what would it feel like if I was in this bar at this time?
uh,
And like I drank champagne for breakfast and like you start getting into those circumstances. Yeah.
imagine acting in The Whale and putting on that fat suit and all that makeup application and
Did you see that? I didn't see it.
yeah.
I'm surprised. How long ago did that come out? Like it didn't get nominated for any award or anything. That would have been
Bro,
this.
the actor, the lead won the Oscar for that.
Oh, that was last year.
Was it last year?
Well, if he won Brendan Fraser the Oscar for The Whale, that
Yeah,
must have
right.
meant.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, I asked did it get nominated for anything. So yes, it did.
Oh, you're saying the actual film as
Yes.
opposed to the actor. I'm not sure. It's a good question. Let me see. But dude, I would recommend it. I mean, there's this one scene uh where he's just I mean, he's just like force feeding himself. and it's like
Right
it's
up.
real, bro. It's crazy.
Why
I'm
would I
not
want?
seeing
You didn't exactly sell me on that. He's just.
well, bro. First off, I'm not. I'm only seeing best actor, best actress, best makeup, which makes sense. I'm not seeing the
It was
actual.
last year's 2023.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, man. I mean, it was really good. It was a definitely a Darren Aronofsky film, which like everything that he does is like you're like, fuck me, like what did I just go through?
Yeah.
But again, not a great sell. It's just you gotta be in the right headspace.
I like movies, for instance, like even Train Spotting, which was about heroin addicts in Scotland. Even that movie was like upbeat to me, and it was like funny and about interesting people that even though they were drug addicts, that was like that didn't, that was just part of them.
That was
And
Aronofsky.
no, but I'm just that
Oh,
was about Danny Boyle. But I just bring it up to say that like something on a depressing subject doesn't have to be like make you want to like freaking
kill
die.
yourself. Yeah, I agree.
Aronofsky movies tend to.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably gonna get to Oppenheimer before The Whale.
I hope so.
The thing about Oppenheimer is like like again, you could have cut out an hour. Like there's so much lawyer stuff on the back half, but teach his own. It won the Oscar for Best Picture, which says something.
I
So
don't know how much any of that stuff means anymore, honestly.
yeah.
But
So what you got going on this week in terms of artistic stuff? Are you shooting? Are you auditioning? What's going on?
it's a good question. I've had two auditions recently as well. Um,
Still got that acting coach?
I'm kind of changing up some stuff.
Okay.
Thinking about going into that acting class, but like, so now I'm done with this dog sitting. I'm gonna figure out some stuff. Maybe the acting class. Oh, yeah. I got to big value mentality stuff. I gotta get going. Really,
Big stuff. What's going on with that?
well, nothing planned, but I'm just saying, like, we gotta really kick things into gear.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
What about you?
Well, again, bro, first thing, value mentality, you just link up with the right influencer and it's done. It's a done deal. Um, I'm just continuing on this writing thing. I've got this mask being made for some shorts, which I'm excited to roll out again. Just keeping the grind going and trying to find leads for this Mrs. Lotta D script I've been trying to shop around for a while. So we'll see. It's with this one actress at Gersh right now. So we'll see if she's
No
interested.
way.
Yeah. Her agents are checking it out and who knows? We'll see.
How'd you get it to them?
Uh connection with Autumn's mom, who's friends with the mom of this actress. So super
Good.
random, but sometimes it's how it works.
Here you go, brother. Well,
Bro, happy fucking birthday. I'm honored you wanted to spend it here, man.
thank you, my man. Of course. All right.
It's always a great time. I'll see you next week.